Ramayana is one of the popular Hindu texts which inspire people generations of generations, serving as a guide which is filled with profound lessons that remain relevant even today. In this video, I shall share 4 such shlokas from the Valmiki Ramayana which offers timeless wisdom. The first shloka appears in the Ayodhya Kanda. The context of the shloka is that Sri Rama is sent to the exile on the command of the king Dasharatha. Agani tears Kausalya Devi so much so that she does not even think for a moment and criticizes and chastises Dasharatha for taking such a decision. But later Dasharatha reveals that he too feels the same pain of separation from Sri Rama. Understanding her mistake of speaking such harsh words, Kausalya Devi consoles the king with the following shloka. Shoko nashyate dhairyam, shoko nashyate shrutam. Shoko nashyate sarvam, na asti shoka sama ripuhu. The word shoka means sorrow or grief. Kausalya Devi says that when a person is filled with sorrow, he loses his courage to fight back. The classic example of this is Arjuna. Before the beginning of the Kurukshetra war, Arjuna was filled with sorrow and refused to wage a battle. He wondered why he needed to fight with his uncles, brothers and teacher. And he completely lost his courage to fight against adharma. Kausalya Devi then continues as Shoko nashyate shrutam. The word shrutam means the Vedas. We know that the Vedas bestow the knowledge and wisdom of what is real and unreal and what is truth and truth. Even that wisdom gets destroyed due to the grief and sorrow, which means a sorrowful person loses their power of discrimination. She goes on to say that the sorrow is so intense that it destroys everything in its path and there is no equivalent enemy. What the shloka suggests is that sorrow and grief are so intense that they pull the man down and never let a person to rise to the situation and fight back. The second shloka is from the Sundara Kanda. Hanuman reaches Lanka and tries to locate where Sita Devi is held captive. Unsuccessful in his attempt, Hanuman thinks about the consequence of carrying this news. As we know that Lanka was the last place where the Vanaras were hoping to find Sita Devi. If the Vanaras learn about this news, they might commit suicide, and he also feels pity for Sri Rama as how he would live his life without Sita Devi. With all such thoughts in his mind, Hanuman even gets a thought of committing suicide. That's when Hanuman utters this shloka. Anirveda shriyo moolam, anirveda param sukham, anirvedo hi satatam, sarva artheshu pravartakaha. The word anirvedaha can be loosely translated as perseverance or hopefulness. Here Hanuman says that perseverance is the foundation of prosperity. Then he says, Anirveda param sukham. The perseverance gives the ultimate sukha, which is the comfort. Then he highlights that the perseverance and hopefulness is a constant motivator in all endeavors. This shloka is contrast with the first one. The previous shloka, Kausalya Devi mentions that a person is filled with grief and loses his courage and will not be able to fight back. But here in this shloka, Hanuman gives us the solution for that problem. In the example of Arjuna, we see Lord Shri Krishna gives the hope to Arjuna and teaches the importance of effort and perseverance through Gitopadesha. The third shloka is from the Aranya Khanda. Ravana meets Maricha and requests him to kidnap Sita from Dandakaranya. Aware of Sri Rama's power, Maricha advises Ravana not to engage in a fight with Sri Rama since the losses to Ravana. But Ravana turns a deaf ear to Maricha and threatens to kill him. That's when Maricha utters this shloka. Sulabaha Purusha Rajan Satatam Priyavadinaha Apriyascha Pathyasya Vakta Shrota Cha Durlabaha. He says, O King, Sulabaha Purusha Satatam Priyavadinaha. It's easy to find people who will speak sweet and pleasant words. On the other hand, it's difficult to find a person who speak bitter truth, and even more difficult is to find a person who listens to it. Once again in Mahabharata, we see Duryodhana surrounds himself with such people, ignoring the wise counsel of Vidura and Bhishma, leading to his end. This shloka encourages people to develop openness and broad-mindedness to accept ideas that always do not align with our desires and expectations. I'm sure that when we ignore such ideas, we would meet the same end as Ravana. The final shloka is from the Yuddha Kanda. Sri Rama meets sage Bharatwaja before he proceeds to Ayodhya after his exile of 14 years. The sage blesses and advises Sri Rama through this shloka. Mitrani dhanadhanyani prajanam sammataniha janani janma bhumischa swargadapi gariyasi. The sage says that people value mitra, dhana, dhanya, which is friends, wealth and grain in this world. But it is even more important and greater than the swarga is janani and janma bhumi, which is the mother and motherland. The verse serves as a reminder of the importance of relationship, material well-being and social concern, as well as the deep connection and reverence one should have towards one's mother and motherland. It encourages individuals to prioritize friendship, lead a prosperous life, respect our mother, and honor the cultural heritage of our motherland. Many see Ramayana as just a tale of Sri Rama and Ravana, but when we dwell deeper, we find that it's a spiritual and philosophical guide to life. By internalizing these lessons, we can overcome challenges, develop resilience, and lead a righteous life. Let us not just read the Ramayana, but live its teaching and become the best versions of ourselves. Stay subscribed. Do check out my other videos. Until then, stay together, learn together.